Alan, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is here. You and I have it's a Marvel animation. It's from their studio. It is a retelling of the origin of Spider-Man and his early days. Peter Parker is the only white person in New York City. If I took so many notes, when I start, and by the way, we will be doing spoilers, light spoilers for the show, because when I tell you what I have just seen, it is the wokest piece of garbage ever to come from Marvel.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's a piece of garbage, and the wokeness is not as bad as we think.
But there's a lot of it. So
there's a lot of it, yeah.
There's a lot of it, and there's a lot of lore breaking, and let's get into it.
I'll start off by saying Harry is a dude.
Let's get to the story.
I know, but we're just gonna get the big one out of the way. He's a dude. He's not trans. There we go. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's just go all over the map and
let's do that.
How about a proper review? Okay, so Peter Parker is a young man, starts a new school. He's going there for orientation. A battle takes place between Doctor Strange and some mysterious black, maybe venom-like creature.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow a little spider, he meets a young woman, goes to protect her, Miko, an Asian woman, and a little spider falls on the back of his neck, bites him, and he gets superpowers. And when he gets the powers, guess what? Uncle Ben died a while ago. There's no motivation. There's nothing that drives him to become Spider-Man other than he thinks it's cool. And to be clear, the world in which this Spider-Man exists is the present, where people use cell phones and emails and social media, and YouTube is a huge part of every episode of this show. You begin to meet Peter Parker's friends. Like I say, he's the only white guy in the entire city other than Aunt May. And you meet a young woman, Pearl, who he has a crush on, who now has a boyfriend named Lonnie Lincoln. And he has a brother named Dre. He's black, by the way. And the brother named Dre may be getting involved in a gang. We meet all these characters. We meet Harry Osborn, who looks like a chick. He has earrings, a man bun, and his very feminine clothes, but he's a guy. We meet Norman Osborn, played by actor Coleman Domingo. I like Coleman Domingo a lot.
It was a good performance. Yeah.
Really good performance. But literally, in scenes of groups of people, it's like DEI came in. We need an Asian, black, an Indian, Middle Eastern with a hijab. Like, it's literally the cast of characters and the attention to detail is something that stood out. There's people who wrote this seem to have more interest in the side characters that support Peter. Peter Parker / Spider-Man is a guest star in this show where all of the black, brown, other types of people kind of take center. At one point in one episode, one character named Pearl stops and tries to talk about her Filipino heritage for no reason. It's virtue signaling to the nth degree, and there's attention to detail. Like, one thing that just stuck out, because every scene, the hairstyles of all the so-called non-white characters, it's almost a fetish for this show. The hair and it's like Peter Parker from the old comic books was thrust into present day New York and just trying to survive. The other thing that drove me crazy, we're not getting too specific here. The other thing, it seems like all of his non-white friends feel the need to take the time to lecture him about how he is supposed to be and act. In addition, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, through no motivation, someone else comes up with his costume. Someone else comes up with like everything that Spider-Man did in the comics is now done by someone else. It's shocking. It's weird. It's such a it's literally like, and by the way, this takes place in a world where all the events that we are aware of in the MCU take place, but without Spider-Man. They make reference to Civil War, the what do they call the Accords?
The Sokovia Accords.
Sokovia Accords are part of it.
It mentions the battle at the airport that Spider-Man was a part of, but Spider-Man wasn't a part of it.
Not in this universe. So it's a multiverse. So Doctor Strange is in it. We see an appearance by Iron Man. There are other appearances, but I'll give you a couple examples. We meet Dr. Connors. Dr. Connors was a character. We know the Lizard from Spider-Man comics and whatnot, who has one arm. Dr. Connors is now a black woman. We meet Rhino. Rhino uses tech from Dr. Octavius, and Rhino ends up being a jacked Russian woman who wears a helmet that shoots lasers like a rhino. On all levels, I'm not telling you even the story because it's all CW drama, high school.
It's a soap opera. It's a soap opera. And I don't care. But there seems to the people lovingly, the people behind this show lovingly put all this effort into building up all the non-Spider-Man character. Like, I care about Peter Parker. He's a guest star in his own show. I'm doing the broad strokes here to tell you this is hot garbage. It was probably done a long time ago. I don't know if they will just dump this all at once. It's 10 episodes dumped in 4 weeks.
So over the course of 4 weeks, we will see all 10. Alan and I have watched all 10. It sounds as if they have future seasons planned.
Yeah.
But I just there were so many moments. I'll get to them. That's my first impression. Alan, what is your first impression?
Yeah, my first impression.
Here's what I call it. They might as well rename the show Spider-Man and His Amazing Black and Brown Friends, or as I call it, Spy-DEI Man is here.
All right. So
what did you think, Alan?
What did I think? For fans of Spider-Man who read it long ago, like I did, Spider-Man is dead. The heart of Spider-Man, the whole Uncle Ben being dead long before the show ever started is the first thing that stuck out to me, and the first thing they killed right at the first 10 minutes. Look, with what is it? With great power, there must also come great responsibility. That's Spider-Man's moral code. That's what he bases his whole code as a superhero as. It's gone. There's remnants of it in this that will piss you off, piss me off. But Spider-Man has no moral code. He's just a good kid who wants to do good things. What replaces great power, great responsibility is be the best you. Find out, become who you are and who you're meant to be. That seems to be the code of all of Disney Marvel at the moment. The thing is heroes are born out of adversity. Spider-Man was born out of the death of Uncle Ben. Without that, there's nothing for Peter Parker to really become a true hero, other than the fact that he's a kid who likes to do good things. And he has a hard time doing good things. And sometimes he's tempted to not do good things. But it's that connection he has with Uncle Ben. The fact that he could have prevented his death.
that drives him to make the decisions that he does. And it's gone. It's not there. You know, he's a high school student. In terms of DEI, there's a rule in current diversity that states this: in order for your show to be diverse, you can have white characters. In fact, it could star a white character. You need black characters, and you can have either Asian or Latinx characters, but you can't have both. And so Spider-Man here, he has Asian friends, but he has no Latinx friends, or Latino friends. I know Polly's watching. Okay, I'll do a quick spoiler here. So in episode 1, here's Lonnie. He's lucky to be at this school. The school that they're attending is for higher education, you know, for high intelligence. He's a football player, highly intelligent football player. And when school ends, he gets on the subway, and people look at him funny because he's black. He gets off the subway and he's followed by the cops. Why? Because he's black. And so it's just known that people are just looking at him because he's black. And this is Peter's best friend, you know, and so there's this systematic racism story, so through events, Lonnie is no longer his friend, and so now Peter is no longer the friend of the poor, oppressed black student. He is now the friend of the rich black student. Who has everything. It's like, did anyone read the script? Did anyone read the overall story and not get these little things, these little contradictions that occur? To juxtapose it in those extreme directions shows that the writing in the show is the worst thing about the show. Look, the animation, I'm okay.
The animation was fine. It's
limited. It's that limited animation, but given the computer and the 3D technique, I'm fine with that. The problem with this show is the writing. The foundations of the story are bad. The dialogue is bad, and the way this is a soap opera where characters go from one situation to the next, but there is no growth in any of these characters. There's no fatal flaw. There's no hero's journey. It's just, oh, bad guy here, bad guy there. Oh, secret identity. You know, can we trust Norman or can't we? You know, oh, look, certain superheroes are here. Yay. You know, that's what this show is. And it's like, look, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you could absolutely skip this because this is not the Spider-Man you grew up with.
It isn't Spider-Man. It's the death of Spider-Man. And the biggest offense, I can't believe how many notes I took. I'll go through them. But the first thing I want to say is Peter Parker / Spider-Man does not motivate anything in the series. He's not the motivator. He doesn't create the costume. He doesn't have the character building that came from Uncle Ben's death. Even that classic line, which is reworded about responsibility, comes from someone else. And it's offense. It's unbelievable that they gave that line to a different character in the show.
Yeah.
It's infuriating. He has no ideas of his own. He allows Oscorp through Norman Osborn. They call it, welcome to the team. They're basically telling Spider-Man what to do. He's merely a tool of Oscorp who sends him on missions that he does. He doesn't motivate his own future or anything. He goes through a series of costumes. We finally get to the classic costume at the end, but he had none of the ideas.
Yeah. Well,
he is merely reacting, and not only that, he is constantly lectured by other characters about how he should be. It's like it's I guess this is like what being maybe a minority white kid would be in a school.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I'm being serious. Is it?
Yeah, no, because he can't say anything.
He's being told you're bad, and you have to listen. He sits there. Oh, I'll listen. Like there were so many scenes where people were just telling Peter, do this, do that. Okay. It was weird.
It was real. It was like the people who wrote this had no interest in Spider-Man, no interest in Peter Parker. They only cared about all these side characters and their stories, like Lonnie Lincoln and his brother Andre Dre, who gets involved in a gang. They join this gang. There are gang fights. There's all these. It's a melodrama for teens.
Yeah, let me describe it this way. A story, a show, a television show, a movie is like a river. There's a river that runs through it, and that's the story. And your protagonist either goes along with the river and just lets the river take them from one place to the other, or your protagonist tries to redirect the river, try to move try to have an influence on that river, which is that story. And in this thing, he just goes along with it.
Right.
Spider-Man is inconsequential to a lot of things here, other than the fact that you could have swapped him out with some other hero and still have the same story being told here. Look, Chris, how many times did you count him crawling up a wall?
Not many. There were.
Yeah.
I didn't count.
Okay. How many times did you see him stand there and you see the Spidey sense come out of him?
Never.
I mean, you've taken three things that are kind of iconic with Spider-Man, and you've removed it. You removed Uncle Ben. You removed the spidery things like climbing up a wall, and you remove Spidey sense. They're there. It's there. He can climb a wall. I guess he has spider sense, but that's when you know that the people who are writing this series don't know a damn thing about Spider-Man, other than what they've seen in Civil War and in the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, it's a colossal disappointment. It isn't Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It is taking the old classic Spider-Man as he would have been, as we know Peter Parker with his sort of hair. He's got the haircut and look of the old Spider-Man we remember from the comics, but he sets him in modern day where he's this wimpy kid that lets other people tell him what to do and how to be. He's defined by everyone around him, not by anything that motivates. He's not a hero. He literally is not a hero other than I have superpowers. There's even a scene where he there's a set piece in one of the later episodes where he fights Scorpion, but he doesn't fight him alone. With just a friend of his fights him.
Yeah,
like
he is saved by someone else in almost every case.
Yeah, he is. And then you're like, well, who is this? The point is, Spider-Man is not the center of the show called Spider-Man. That's the bottom line. And I could go through my notes. I'm telling you, it's so dumb. I you know what? I'm not. We'll talk about it more. But I gotta say, I'm just a colossal disappointment. I think somehow this may resonate with Gen Z because this is Spider Wimp. It's Spider Wimp.
Look, Gen Z, they know weak storytelling. That's why they flock to anime and not to anything Americans make, because they know they want some more depth in their stories. I mean, again, let's just say we go back to episode 1, and Uncle Ben is the mentor, the father of Spider-Man, of Peter Parker. And he dies, and Peter Parker could have saved him, and now he's driven by that. Can you imagine how now that affects the entire story in this show? It would give you a much more exciting show, a much more intriguing show. But no, it's just a kid with superpowers. There you go. I mean, Disney's good at that. Look, my kid is watching Lab Rats again. Okay, that's the kind of depth that Spider-Man has.
Well, look, the thing is that they took Harry Osborn and feminized him, made him a social media star and a rich kid. They took the one interesting friend of Peter Parker, Lonnie, and made him get involved in gang violence, which is so cliche.
Yeah, and it was a little 180-degree turn.
Yeah, he was this good football star, like friend to Peter Parker.
Yeah.
He was a nice.
He had morals. He was a great guy. He looked out for the little guy.
He was like a good version of Flash Thompson, but
kudos to them for creating an original character. But
Mhm.
effectively, Mary Jane is Asian, and I didn't even realize that was supposed to be Mary Jane,
Was
but
it?
it's Miko. No, it's original character, but it's effectively a stand-in for Mary Jane. The
Yeah,
love
I mean,
triangle of
but I
Harry.
don't think it's Mary Jane. I don't think that character is Mary Jane.
It's not Mary Jane in name. It's
No,
an
in
archetype.
character. Well, no, I mean, when you look at Mary Jane's story in the comics, I don't think Nico will follow that path.
Well, we'll see. I'm looking at my notes. It's just the first thing I wrote down was spy DEI man. So, colossal disappointment. People will not be talking about this a month from now.
No.
And it's I'll just say this. People saying it's not woke, you're crazy. It's woke gold. So there you go.
Yeah, I will
Final
say this.
thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, I think the people that will really like this series are the people with social media accounts.
And the fact that, like, I'm not going to say what the climax or ending of the show is. The ending of the show involves people getting an email.
Mhm.
So much of the show. I mean, this is a show where people are on their phone in every episode. Social media is a part of it. People are emailing. It's boring. It's boring to watch, to have drama centered around social posts, YouTube videos going viral, and technology invading your life.
Mhm.
And Spider-Man is the most boring character in the whole show, and I
Yeah.
feel like it was done by design.
Yeah. Okay, so just to say that when you do an animated series, generally 2 seasons are done at one time. So my guess is there is going to be a second season.
Especially the way it
Yeah.
ends.
Yeah, and the second season has probably already been finished.